Hello and welcome to my first IGTV. We are going to be talking about baking without eggs. So sometimes there will be a case where you don't have eggs, or you can't find them at the store, or you've run out, or you maybe just don't eat them. So for example, if you're a vegan, sometimes you don't have them around, but how are you going to make a dessert without eggs? So there are a lot of different options. It kind of depends on what you're baking. I think the first rule of thumb to remember is that everything is going to depend on what kind of dessert you're making. Some egg substitutes do not work in some things, and others definitely don't work in certain kind of desserts. So for example, if you are going to do something like a flax egg, which I have right here, a flax egg is going to be about a tablespoon of ground flaxseed mixed with 3 tablespoons of water. And eventually you're going to get this kind of jiggly, jelly sort of substance that mimics the texture of an egg. So if you think about the egg white portion of an egg, the flax egg really mimics that kind of jelly type texture and really holds things together. So a flax egg is going to be good for something like chocolate chip cookies or a brownie, or something where it can, that nutty flavor and sometimes the texture of the ground flaxseed can be covered up by something else. So in chocolate chip cookies, you have the chocolate chips in it. In brownies, you have all of the chocolatey goodness in it and the cocoa powder that's kind of covering up that nutty texture within the dessert. It would not be good for something like a really light and fluffy cake, or something that just has a lot of very tender texture to it. So maybe a cupcake is sometimes not great if you're doing straight up vanilla. I think if there's chocolate in it, it is always a safe bet to use a flax egg. But if it is vanilla or lemon or something that is very light in nature, a flax egg is not going to be great for that. The other option is a cornstarch egg. So here I have a little bit of cornstarch mixed with some water, and you can kind of see it's really viscous. And this is going to be good for something like that cake, or a cupcake, or something really light and fluffy that needs something that is going to hide very well. So cornstarch is a really faint flavor. Usually you cannot detect it at all in a baked good, and it's going to be really easy to incorporate that into the batter without making it heavy or making it taste like flaxseed or chia seed or something like that. So cornstarch is going to be good for, like I said, those cake recipes, cupcake, anything else that can kind of get really light and fluffy, but just need something to hold it together a little bit. Doesn't necessarily need a super big binding power. So cornstarch egg is going to be something that is really great for that. Another option that is definitely in the realm of something that needs other flavors going on is if you use something like bananas. So bananas are good for lemon bars, something with grapefruit in it, maybe anything that has citrus or has a really strong flavor overpowering that banana flavor is going to be great with bananas. So keep in mind that it will taste slightly like bananas, but it won't overpower everything else, and it's going to definitely need a different tartness to cut through it. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it with something like chocolate unless you have a chocolate banana bread you want to make, but bananas are going to be good for, like I said, lemon bars, maybe a key lime pie, or something that has a really strong citrus flavor that's going to cut through all of that. One other option is a chia seed egg. So I didn't make one, but I have chia seeds here. So chia seeds get a really interesting texture when you combine them with water. And if you've ever used them and then maybe wiped out a dish or wiped up some chia seeds off of the counter with a damp sponge, you can tell immediately that they're going to form a little bit of a gel packet around them. So a lot of times chia seeds are used for runners who need sustained energy if they're doing marathons or half marathons, whatever it may be. They're great in smoothies, they're great in a lot of other really healthy things, but they are also great in some baking. So if you're making something like a breakfast cookie or a granola bar, chia seeds are great because they have that pocket of gel that forms around them and forms this really great kind of glue that holds something together. Again, they're going to be in the realm of flaxseed eggs, where they have a stronger flavor to them. They definitely have a texture to them, so it would not be in something like a cake or maybe even not some cookies. It's going to have to be in something hearty and already healthy. So like I said, breakfast cookies, granola bars, anything along that realm that's already healthy would be great for a flaxseed egg. So these are just some of the options. They're some of the best options for egg substitutes if you don't have them around, or if you just don't eat eggs. A lot of times you can convert a non-vegan recipe to vegan using some of these egg substitutes. It might take some trial and error. It might not work out the same exact way, but always kind of think through what that egg is doing in the recipe. So is it holding it together? Is it causing it to rise? Is it doing a little bit of both? And then think about what your best option is going to be in terms of an egg substitute. So like I said, for a cake, for example, if it uses 4 or 5 eggs, these are not going to be great for you. You might as well use a vegan cake recipe. But if you're using 1 or 2 eggs in a cake recipe and you want to convert it to using no eggs, you can use a couple of cornstarch eggs. So a tablespoon of cornstarch combined with probably a couple of teaspoons of water. That's going to give you that hold together that you need and make sure that your cake stays held together. The other thing is, if your recipe has baking powder or baking soda in it, you're going to be more likely to just need eggs to hold things together rather than to leaven a recipe and make sure it rises. So keep that in mind as you're looking through recipes, and if you come across something that uses eggs and trying to decide what to use in place of it, what all is in it? Is there a leavener? Is there something that holds it together? Is it going to overpower a different flavor? Can I add chocolate to it to make sure that the flavor gets overpowered if I need that? It's all going to depend on your recipe and what you have on hand. So I hope this helps you bake without eggs, and you can still make your favorite dessert even if you are short on ingredients.